Hello, I'm Wayward. The game is Grey Goo, QuickScript.5. The map is Battle Wasteland, and the players, to the north, is Mermixer as our red human. And to the south, as our red beta, that's not going to be confusing at all, is Zeisaurus. So, things already off to an interesting start with the scouting commando running into this scouting trident, taking quite a lot of damage for itself. While things are getting started up, it looks like Zeisaurus is going double factory, double refinery, pretty standard, and Mermixer right now with a third refinery. Mermixer with a third refinery coming down. Let's take a quick look at the map. Battle Wasteland is a player-created map, fairly large and open with multiple paths into both players' bases. Not the prettiest map in the world. There's that forward extractor from Mermixer. Interesting that he didn't choose one of these two back ones. This is a fairly aggressive placement, going to be hard to keep it safe. It looks like he's trying to build some conduits out to get some factories. Looks like, let's get the structures tab up. So we are at 3 refineries for both players and 6 factories coming down for Mermixer, with 2 factories right now for Zeisaurus. You would think this map would favor the beta. I've seen some crazy games on the map with beta doing things like proxy factories around behind an enemy base and what have you. So we'll have to see what happens here. It looks like right now Zeisaurus going aggressive with a small squad of commandos trying to cause some trouble. There's the scouting trident for Mermixer. Actually, these commandos not being super aggressive, they're just being pulled forward to... we'll have to see. So right now Zeisaurus is, I don't know, he feels kind of dithery to me right now. He's got a couple of factories, he's got a couple of refineries, not doing much in the way of anything yet. Going for a hangar, so possibly air scouts or early air. We do have a scout up here. I feel like it's a lot more clear what Mermixer is doing. With 6 factories, he's clearly going to be building a strong army as soon as he can. Air attachment and tank attachment, so possibly also going to be going for air. We'll have to see if he starts building some air pads. This little commando army is looking for targets of opportunity. It looks like he's scouting out these resource deposits to see if there are any extractors he can harass. Little bit of harassment there, not going to do anything, of course, just possibly annoy his opponent. Looks like both players are on their 4th refinery. Nothing yet from the hangar, as far as I can tell. Monitor coming out for our human player, and of course Valiants and revolvers, which is a pretty standard human composition nowadays, as I understand it. Artillery attachment clearly going for that artillery transit. Good Lord, Wayward. Artillery attachment clearly heading for that artillery transition. We'll know for 100% certain once he adds a stealth attachment for the howitzer. Let's see, what do we got coming out? Warbirds. So Zeisaurus actually going for air. Mass commandos into air is going to be interesting. This has been scouted by Mermixer, so he knows what's coming. We'll have to see how he chooses to respond. I do like this use of the monitor, by the way. Zeisaurus not really leveraging his racial strengths right now, keeping all of his stuff kind of clumped up here. With the monitor, I think this is a great idea. The Warbird needs to kill that monitor to handle the scouting. Right now, Zeisaurus has a larger army, but it is considerably weaker thanks to them mostly being commandos. No one's got any upgrades yet, and there's no air coming from Mermixer as of yet, anyway. Fairly good positioning here with the commandos. Some of them are hidden, but the Valiants are really making this a one-sided fight, and Zeisaurus splitting, withdrawing his army, what's left of it at any rate. 2 warbirds are not going to do very much, but we'll have to see what comes next. So the other advantage of the air attachment is that Mermixer does have the ability to produce anti-air sentinels if he needs to. Large factory. I think this might be a Hand of Rook, actually. Artillery. No, I think you need a large hub for a Hand of Rook, so this is just nonsense going down. That's not the format for the Hand of Rook. I'd love to see a Hand of Rook in this match, but that's not going to be it. So Mermixer ahead in the refinery count. Zeisaurus needs to get on that or risk being decimated in the long game. We do have some longbows starting to come out for Mermixer to deal with the warbirds. Right now, still only 4 warbirds and not really doing anything with them. I think that's a mistake. This is, or was, Zeisaurus' chance to harass the... this is the wrong move. The longbow is out. It's ready to do its thing. Picking off a couple of revolvers not going to be a huge win for our beta player. Large factory transition coming out from Mermixer. It makes sense. He's got, what, 6 refineries now? Zeisaurus actually does catch up with a 6th refinery himself. But he really needs to transition out of commandos, I think. 3 different upgrades coming from Mermixer right now. He's getting repair subroutine, which is allows many higher tier units to auto repair out of combat. Ground battery, which makes longbows able to attack ground units. That's a really good one if you need to get longbows anyway. And cloaking system monitors gain stealth. That's going to be important for keeping up his ability to scout. So I like those upgrades. Also 3 upgrades coming from Zeisaurus. Target acquisition. Predator shoots 4 individual shots instead of 4 together. So I guess there is a transition to predators approaching. We do have hailstorms out now for Zeisaurus. This is a good army transition for our beta player. Needs to catch up to Mermixer though in terms of unit count. Mermixer does have a large army at this point. Platform stability, that's a really common one. Hailstorms can move and fire. It makes the hailstorm go from annoying to downright frightening. And lastly, the incendiary catalyst bomb, which is probably one of the most destructive non-epic unit AoE damage sources in the game. So really interesting compositions from both in terms of upgrades. Both players have the same number of structures, actually, which is kind of funny. Mermixer has a really good blockade here. He's blocking a lot of the ground routes. I don't know if this is traversable or not by infantry. My guess is that it's not. But, yeah, so nice placement by Mermixer. He's got pretty much all of his avenues of approach covered. The warbirds are taking pot shots from longbows. Losing a warbird to a longbow is definitely not ideal for Zeisaurus at this point, especially with him considerably behind his opponent. No, get those warbirds out of there. Oh my god. Losing 2 warbirds for basically nothing is not ideal. Both players continuing to increase their refinery counts. Mermixer is content to sit, basically, and let his opponent throw armies away against his defenses, which, I mean, really is what's, like, ideally what you want. Zeisaurus with a really nasty force coming out here, including a lot of hailstorms. They are kind of getting out ahead of themselves. There we go. We only have 2 predators. I think this army... I can speak. I can do this. That army would have been able to take out what Mermixer had, but he's consolidating his forces and has a couple of howitzers out at this point. With the you see the repair subroutines has been researched. Howitzer landing a nasty shot on that ball of commandos there. Some good shots coming out from these hailstorms as well. The platform stability really paying for itself at this point. Meanwhile, we have a harass party coming down here from Mermixer. Not doing too much because of the defenders, but still annoying, and I don't want to miss that. Zeisaurus being forced to pull very far back into his own territory. Not much conclusive happening there. A lot of howitzers for Mermixer at this point. We can actually check the numbers, can't we? 14 hailstorms to 15 howitzers at this point. Actually, weirdly enough, a lot more individual units for Zeisaurus. I think it's because most of his army is commandos. Another raiding party coming out here, fairly damaged actually, from Mermixer, but there's nothing here to defend anything, and this is going to really impact Zeisaurus's income. I think he's going to be able to take out all 3 extractors and possibly some of these refineries before Zeisaurus gets anything over there. So Mermixer kind of taking control of the pace of the match at this point, forcing a response out of Zeisaurus, and he's going to be able to capitalize on this because Zeisaurus is reflexively moving. Oh my god, wayward. Zeisaurus is reflexively moving his army across the map to respond. And Mermixer has some great scouting here with these stealthed monitors, which really is going to help him. So this army is going to go down, but it's going to take out a lot more than its weight in PopCap thanks to the Valiants. It is taken out. We do have some defenders here as well. So this is a formidable force with the basically the artillery of the longbow and the howitzers. Nice anticipatory shots there from the howitzers coming out. Zeisaurus whiffing his shots. I think he's trying to see around the cliffs there, anticipate around the cliffs. We have a big commando ball here doing nothing. More forces moving out for Mermixer going right, and this force here to the left still. So Mermixer needs to be careful. He's got these little tactical forces that he's trying to use very surgically, but he could just end up throwing his army away. Really nasty howitzer shots coming down, forcing his opponent to attack into his artillery. The Predators can fire on the move, which is important to stopping this. Also the hailstorms. Really nasty artillery shots, though. Mermixer making a lot of hay out of the howitzer. Over here, meanwhile, there's a bit of a standoff. We have some howitzers shelling these commandos. That's a complete waste, unfortunately, for poor Zeisaurus, who is distracted by what's going on over here. Mermixer actually, again, doing some pretty impressive micro with the Grey Goo units, losing another Warbird. I salute you, poor Warbird. Yeah, so this is looking pretty bad for our beta player. Good lord, look at all those howitzers. So yeah, there's not too much down here for Zeisaurus to defend against the incoming strike team, even though it's fairly small. There's like barely anything down here, and it's hurt. Meanwhile, we have a pretty big ball here. but we've seen Mermixer's ability to punish clumped enemies with the howitzer. Brutal damage being taken by the... oh no. There's so many really heavily damaged hailstorms over here. Yeah, Mermixer really doing the sword and shield thing with the Valiants and what have you. Really good composition, really good technical skills here from Mermixer. Zeisaurus misanticipating the angle of approach of his opponent, going to cost him another extractor. If he was responding, he would be able to deal with this in a more or less decent fashion. Really nice use, vicious use of the trees over here, and we also have multiple armies and strike teams from Mermixer. Mermixer getting silos. It's kind of a flex there. He's doing so well. He's got resources to bank up. What is the actual 10 refineries to 8? So also ahead economically. This is kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts for poor Zeisaurus here at this point. It's honestly, it's kind of felt like it's coming for a while, but really, really impressive technical skill and unit control from Mermixer. You do not... I think this is some of the most impressive actual, like, identifiable micro I've seen come out of a Grey Goo match in a while. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about the other players, but I just... kudos to Mermixer for making this look so impressive. But yeah, the tip of the hat to Mermixer. This is some of the most impressive human micro I've seen, and I'm sure Xset, if and when you watch this, you will rightly say that you are the master of humans. But got to give credit where it's due for Mermixer. That was really impressive. So to summarize the match, basically, Mermixer was functionally ahead the entire time. There were a couple of moments where it felt like Zeisaurus was kind of making something happen, and there was one point where it felt like Mermixer was potentially throwing units away. But ultimately, I think he handled that very elegantly. And yeah, it was just a matter of finding a hole and then pressing until something cracked. And Zeisaurus, while he had some very, very neat strategies, especially with that really early transition to air units, I think in the long term he kind of struggled to make that work the way he would have wanted. He did get scouted by a monitor pretty early, so Mermixer was able to see that coming and react to it in time with those longbows. I'm realizing belatedly that the air and artillery attachment is what you need to get longbows, and that's why he did that. He did the air attachment and then the artillery attachment, and then artillery and stealth. There we go. So yeah, anyway, good match, and thanks to both players for allowing me to talk about what you're doing and sound as though that I could do nearly as well. This has been Wayward, and this has been Grey Goo. I'll catch you next time. And lastly, just I apologize for all of the the verbal snafus that I was engaging in. So, good times. That's why we're here, right? Anyway, this has been Wayward, and I'll catch you next time.